if they can stop the 5th-ranked Miami Hurricanes. 2 programs, 2 stories. One school, the traditional power, seeking to reach the heights of past glory. The other school still learning to fly. Now Miami is a Hurricane at maximum force after their win over Florida State. They're dreaming of a national title in South Florida. But this is not your tired old Temple team anymore. The Owls are finding their way. Can they soar today in the face of the Hurricanes? We're at Vet Stadium as the Hurricanes get ready to take on the Temple Owls in Big East football. Hi, everybody. Dave Sims along with Jeff Bostic. Good to have you with us as we look at a Miami ball club that has had 2 weeks to feel good about itself. That win over Florida State. And the reason, Ken Dorsey, their sophomore quarterback, plays like a 15-year NFL veteran.
The guy's had a super sophomore season, no question about it. The one thing about it for the Miami program, they passed the litmus test in beating Florida State. In South Florida, they call this the drive. Guess what? Dorsey to Shockey for the 27-24 win over Florida State. One thing about Dorsey that you're going to notice, sophomore, 19 years old, mature beyond years, 163 straight attempts without an interception. His last interception was against these Temple Owls. He needs to have a big day this afternoon.
How about the Temple Owls? 4 games to play, 3 here at the Vet. They're 2 wins away from being bowl eligible. That's how much things have changed. Put the onus on a guy named Ternardo Sharps, who only leads the conference in rushing.
He's a leading rusher in the conference, Dave. But the one thing about it, if you're Temple, you have a home run threat at running back. 4 times this season he's had runs over 60 yards. 4 times he's rushed for over 100 yards. He's only really been held intact against Virginia Tech. Look at his numbers. The one thing that stands out, his average touchdown run, 33 yards. Ternardo Sharps has to have a huge day this afternoon to keep his team in this game.
He will be a marked man by Dan Morgan and that Miami defense. Now, Temple's defense, they make plays, and yes, you know about what Miami's offense is capable of. Up next, Mike Gleason in the AT&T studio as we're moments away from kickoff here in Philly. Welcome back to Philadelphia, everybody. We are seconds away from starting this Temple-Miami game. It's homecoming here for Temple, and before the kickoff, Frank Fort spoke with Butch Davis about today's game.
Down here with Coach Butch Davis. Butch, a lot of euphoria, a lot of hype after beating Florida State. Have the guys been able to put that aside now and get their minds back on the business at hand, which is taking care of Temple today?
Absolutely, Frank. It didn't take long. Once you started watching film, realizing, you know, how much improvement, what good football team that Temple's become, it got our kids' attention. We've had good practices.
Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Butch Davis, the head coach of Miami. Now let's go back up to Dave and Jeff.
All right, Frank, thank you very much, and welcome to the broadcast team here in Philadelphia as we look at Almanese Boyles back on kickoff return duty today for the Temple Owls. Todd Severs out of Ankeny, Iowa, 6'3" sophomore, is going to get things going. Temple Owls wiped out Rutgers last week, and there's Ternardo Sharps. Pretty good return average. And a guy that's going to get a lot of touches this afternoon. Miami won the toss, decided to defer. They're kicking off, and we are underway. A high short kick taken by Sharps at the 5. 15, 20, some open space, 30, 35, 39-yard line, loose ball. And they're going to say it was down on contact back at the 41-yard line, but a good-looking return by Ternardo Sharps as he goes for 36 yards on the return. Devin Scott, he'll start today for the Temple Owls. Look what he did last week against Rutgers. Only 2 incompletions, 3rd best in history. What an afternoon. And these Temple Owls, confidence riding high. They played well at Virginia Tech, and now another stern test today against the 5th-ranked Miami Hurricanes. 1st and 10, great field position at the 41-yard line. Dillard in motion, and Dillard gets it. Dillard to the corner. There's the new speed dimension here at Temple. That is good for a 1st down. Sean Dillard out of Stone Mountain, Georgia. 5'8" sophomore. The rest of the starters for the Temple Owls. Devin Scott completed 67% of his passes, 5 touches, 4 picks. And for the wide receivers, Greg Muckerson is a former quarterback, an option quarterback. He's their leading receiver with 31 catches. Dave Jovanovic, talk about an Ironman, started every game, taken every snap for the last 2 years. Leads a big offensive line. And how about this? Miami, and a look that Sharps was not ready for, so he calls a timeout. Boy, that's not good, burning a timeout with that 21 seconds into the game. Take a look at the defensive unit for the Miami Hurricanes. They come in, of course, after a week layoff after knocking off Florida State. William Joseph gets the start on the D-line. Then without Damone Lewis, he's got a foot problem, a fractured bone. Dan Morgan, everything middle linebacker, among the top tacklers in the country. And yes, another Blades at Miami. Al following in the footpaths of Brian and Benny, his older brothers. Both of them were stars. Now, Morgan was born locally here in Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania, Philly suburb, but has been in Florida since he was about 13 years old. But he is everything you could want in a football player. And Butch Davis raved about him with us the other day.
Amazing statistic, double-digit tackles in 26 games. I bet when he started in Miami he was 6'5". Now he's about 6'3".
Came in as a running back, as all three starters at linebacker did when they first came to UM. First down play for the Owls. There's a reverse again. Getting to the corner is Cobb. And Cobb tried to put a move on Mike Rump, but an 8-yard pickup.
You talk about an All-American football player. You talk about Dan Morgan. He's one of the semifinalists in the Butkus Award candidate voting. Big interception last week against Florida State, 2 weeks ago against Florida State. The one thing you'll notice about this young man, very instinctive football player, a knack for getting to the football. And I'll tell you what, when he gets there, he'll put a knot on you.
Where's number 44? His hero was Brian Bosworth, who was an All-American, as you remember, at the University of Oklahoma. Temple, second down and short. They roll. Scott in trouble. There's Morgan. Tackle for a loss. Morgan says, no, not going to happen. Boy, he's got tremendous speed and quickness.
When we talked with Butch Davis, he said one thing that really stands out in my mind. If I'm going to change anything about Dan Morgan, I'm not changing anything. He does everything. Preparation, weightlifting, running. He wants to practice. We talked about his instinctiveness to getting to the football. You see it right there. Good student also. That's a big key.
Big loss to the 46, his third sack of the season. Outstanding performer. Here's Temple now, the third long out of the gun. They'll keep it on the ground to no avail because 44 was there with Dan Morgan. Unbelievable. Great explosion as he wipes out Sharps on that draw.
The one thing, if you're Temple, though, you can get away with this offensive series saying, you know what? We have loosened their defense up a little bit. Look at Morgan. The one thing about linebacker play, do it on their side of the ball. That's with just an uncanny ability of getting upfield, knowing where the ball is going to be. Good play.
George Radu back to punt for Temple. Out of Philadelphia's George Washington High School, averaging 37 yards per kick. Santana Moss makes the fair catch at the 7-yard line. So a good exchange of field position for the Temple Owls. 43 yards on that punt. So Bobby Wallace tried a little bit of a deception.
And when you have a team that's as quick as Miami is defensively, you need the gadget plays early to make them play a little bit more honest in the early parts of the game.
We'd expect out of Miami here because they've got great passer, terrific running backs, game-breaking wide receiver.
I'm more excited at seeing Temple's defense. Okay. Looking at the numbers and looking at the improvement, this is what I'm excited about watching.
First down play from the 7-yard line. Straight up the middle. That's DJ Williams starting at fullback today. Freshman out of Concord, California. He was the USA Today Defensive Player of the Year at De La Salle High School. 6'2", 235 on 4.45 40. There's a look at Taylor Suman, top returning tackler in the Big East. James Jackson, a lot to like there, the top rusher 4 touchdowns. Went for 98 yards against Florida State. Martin Biblin leads a veteran and big offensive line. Here's a ball thrown outside, and it's caught. Reggie Wayne with the catch. 6'1" senior out of Marrero, Louisiana. And that moves the chains. First down for Miami. Russell Newman has been getting a lot of play. The sack leader with 4.5 coming into the game. Suman and Talley, 2 of the top linebackers in the Big East Conference. Talley leads in tackling, and Jamal Wallace, the number 2 tackler on the team, and a pretty good cover guy out of Port Norris, New Jersey. First and 10 for Miami. 25-yard line, and just a little bit offsides there. Dan Klecko. Yes, the son of Joe Klecko, 5-time All-Pro with the New York Jets.
And that's the one thing about when you miss time.
The ball, defense, offside. Still first down.
Dan Klecko was a freshman All-American and has really been hampered by the injury bug most of the year. You know, ankle, foot, knee. And when you haven't played much, Dave, anxious. A little bit anxious to get after it. I'll tell you what, he's like his father. He's cat quick.
Got the same motor. Hopes to play about 20 snaps today. He's about 80% of his normal efficiency. Long count, Dorsey. Jackson on the carry. Tries to turn the corner. Does. Nice hard run. Picks up the first down for Miami. James Jackson. Very, very outstanding performer out of Belgrade, Florida. 4th Union Military. So another first down for Miami. Keynes at the 38-yard line. Just underway here in Philadelphia. It's homecoming for the Temple Owls. Dorsey switching off line of scrimmage. Looks and throws and shorts it to Santana Moss. Moss tried to sell that one to the officials, to no avail. This is Butch Davis. 6th season at Miami, turned this program around. He's out of Arkansas, class of 1974. And 44 wins in his 6 years. And Bobby Magnolia, Arkansas, really loves it here in Philly. He's built a house right on the edges of Center City. Second down and 10 for the Canes. And off right up the middle, good DJ Williams. About a 3-yard gain.
And the one thing that both of these coaches, Butch Davis and Bobby Wallace, have brought back to their respective programs is D. And it's not defense, it's discipline. And I think it's probably more apparent with Miami. I think Miami was a program that was somewhat out of control. Dennis Erickson was there for a long time, and prior to that, Jimmy Johnson. But Butch made the tough decisions when he first got there. Now it's reaping the benefit.
And that 97 season when they went 5-6. That's bottoming out for Miami after tradition of national championships. 3rd and long. Dorsey throws. Should have been picked. Right in the hands of the free safety, Jamal Wallace. He was right there. Check that, Lacey had his hands right on it. And now Miami's going to have to punt.
If you're a Miami Hurricane fan, you're lucky that this ball didn't go the other way. We talked about Dorsey's streak of completing passes, attempts. That one should have gone the other way. You can see why some of these wide receivers have been switched to defensive backs.
Here's Freddie Capshaw. Pretty good punt. DeVito makes the catch, 18-yard line. Mac DeVito, one of many Temple players who have switched positions. A 42-yard punt, no return. We'll take a break. When we come back, Temple's going to have the ball at their own 18-yard line here in Big East football from Philadelphia. Well, while we were away, there was a penalty on Miami, holding penalty. They had a re-kick, a 35-yard punt, 15-yard return by Mac DeVito, and there's a holding penalty right here.
And you're talking about a huge penalty. This is a 37-yard difference in field of position. You know, your Miami team, there's one thing about having a week off. You know, it gets a lot of bodies healthy, although they're still missing a few people. Damian Lewis on that defensive line. but you lose your edge.
So instead of Temple, when we left you, they were going to put the ball in play from the 18. They now have it at Miami's 46-yard line. They'll go out of the gun. No score early on here. Devin Scott to throw. Got a little bit of time. Throws it over the middle. Wide open. And that's good, close to first down yardage for the Temple Owls. Their number 2 receiver, Charles Cobb, the sophomore out of Washington, D.C. Started the season 6 catches for 39 yards against Navy.
And one thing in talking to Butch Davis about the Temple offense, he said, you know, obviously Sharps is the real deal, the running back. He said, but their passing attack is high percentage, and you're going to see a lot of short passes that would be equivalent to runs.
He also noted that they're going to take their shots deep, too. Tight end moved quickly on that one. No flags on the play. Short run, and looks like they got the first down as they ran their fullback, Jason McKee. Cousin of Aaron McKee, plays for the Philadelphia 76ers, and he was a star basketball player at Temple a few years ago.
If you're Miami and you're looking at this game, Dave, only look back a couple years ago when Temple went to Virginia Tech and pulled the biggest shock, I think, in the 90s. This is not a bad Temple football. This is not the Temple you remember from 2 or 3 years ago.
You bet. 1st and 10. Temple on the move. Option. Scott, he's got the edge. Got some running room. 26-yard line. Nice pickup. You notice that Morgan got into that play a little bit late with help from his fellow linebacker, Chris Campbell, number 48. Nice run by Devin Scott.
And Devin Scott, I think, gets the start, Dave, for one reason. Mike Frost has played the last 2 games and started. Devin Scott gives them more mobility. When you're talking about a Miami defense, you talk about speed. Butch Davis was at Dallas for years. I've played against Butch Davis's coach football teams. They will always have speed.
2nd down, 2. Fullback got tripped up. McKee, and boy, there's some serious hitting going on there. Let's do our first check in the AT&T studio. Mike Gleason with an update on the Ohio State game.
Well, Dave and Jeff, this doesn't look like the same Buckeye team that showed up against Minnesota last week. First, they force a fumble, then Derek Holmes back in the lineup, 14 yards, bounces to the outside. Certainly looks healthy on that play. And the Buckeyes up 7-0 on the Hawkeyes in Iowa City, 11:03 to go in the first. Dave?
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Ohio State, an early lead here in Philadelphia. 3rd and short for the Temple Owls. 25-yard line. It looks like they did get it. Harold Jackson, I believe, was the ball carrier.
It is a first down for the Temple offense, and if there's one thing that this Temple offense has done, and I'm talking mammoth strides from 1999, they take care of the football, and you know what? They possess the clock, and that's going to be huge this afternoon. It's hard for Miami to score if they're sitting on the bench.
3rd first down picked up by the Owls. McKee and Sharps in the offset eye. Comes the blitz. Scott, screen left, got it, got running room. Sharps, nice cut. And a good tackle prevented 6 there. Nicely done by Mike Rumpf, number 8. He got a leg and held on because it looked like Sharps is going to take it home.
We talked about this game. In my opinion, a landmine game for Miami. The only thing they can do is come in here and win the football game, but they have a heck of a lot to lose. I like what they're doing offensively. Charlie Fisher, the offensive coordinator for Temple. You know what? Throw in the gadget plays early. You know, let Miami's aggressiveness, you know, in getting upfield to rush the quarterback. Sharps almost lost that football. Good job of keeping it. You got to hold it close to your side.
Good block by the center, Donnie Klein. Sharps. Boy, it's amazing they're trying to get through the penetrating defense of Miami. Nicely done inside. Cornelius Green, number 98, really caused some havoc in there.
And that was one of those plays that looked ugly from the start.
Sure
it looked
did.
like Scott kind of stumbled when he took the ball from center. Didn't look like Sharps, you know, got the handoff real clean. The one thing about it, if Temple can stay in 3rd and 1 and 3rd and 2 all afternoon, you have to like their chances.
No question about it. 3rd down and 2. Ball at the 15-yard line. Roll out. Got rid of it. Got it to his running back. McKee got drilled. Nice close by the strong safety, Edward Reed, on Jason McKee. And McKee, boy, I tell you what, he's got some legs on him. 5'11", 227. Transfer from Lackawanna College after a couple of seasons at NC State. Reed, an all Big East second team performer a year ago, and a penalty against Temple.
And a huge penalty it is, a holding penalty. Not only does it negate a first down, Dave, it puts you in third and very long. And this is not the type of offense that's going to pick up 3rd and 15s all afternoon.
Keep in mind, too, that Temple's already burned 1 timeout. They only have 2 times out remaining. Took that first timeout 21 seconds into the game. So this is a big one that takes it back.
Gets the offense. 10-yard penalty, previous spot. Retreat 3rd down.
Jack Kramer and his crew. Bobby Wallace. This team at 4-3. Has already won more games than they or tied the amount of wins they have had combined the last 2 years. Big play here. 3rd down, 12. Ball's at the 25-yard line. Morgan on the blitz. Throw by Scott outside, a little bit too strong. Tried to get it to Charles Cobb. But Dan Morgan was in the left lane coming in a hurry.
You talk about drive stoppers, you talk about holding penalties. Temple's been penalized 43 times coming into this game. And David, takes you out of an area where you could really go 4-down territory and try and drive this thing into the end zone. And now you've got a 42-yard field goal and you may come away empty.
Cap Paklemba out of Baltimore's McDonough High School, Westminster, Maryland. As long as you see is a 41-yarder out of the hold of Mac DeVito. Good snap placement. Kick's got a chance. It's good. So Cap Paklemba now 7 for 11 in field goals. That is his season long now, 42 yards. And Temple has put a score up on the board here. It's 3-0 Owls over the Hurricanes. Call ATT for collect calls. Buick, isn't it time for a real car? National Car Rental, what are you waiting for? Let's go. Hotjobs.com. Hot Jobs, onward, upward. CarDay.com, certified used cars. Visit our website or call 1-800-MY-CAR-DAY. And by Bass Ale, true to character since 1777. Butch Davis and the Miami Hurricanes trailing 3-0 here against the Temple Owls. They got a break. Temple got a 15-yard penalty, forced them back, and they went for the field goal and made it. Paklemba with a season-best 42-yarder. 8 plays, 20 yards. And don't forget, too, that after the Miami hold on the punt, instead of Temple getting the ball on their own 18, they got it on the Miami 46. Big difference.
And the big one, though, Dave, is against the Temple offense. A holding penalty that negated a first down. And you hate to try and say what's going to happen during the course of the game. As a football coach, as Bobby Wallace on the sideline, you like to see 7 on the board as opposed to 3.
That's right. You want to take it, maximize every opportunity. There's Jared Davis. All 5'6", 133 of him. High, very short kick, and it goes out of bounds. Very short kick, and a nice job by Will McPartland, a backup fullback, to let that ball go out of bounds.
And that's where communication comes in. Andre Johnson, back number 5, to return the kick.
Kickoff out of bounds. By rule, the ball is placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
And that's where communication from teammates helps, because you know what? The young up back tries to catch the football. He steps out of bounds. He's got it on the 24, 25-yard line. You pick up 10 yards.
Absolutely. So the running backs behind Ken Dorsey, DJ Williams and Najee Davenport.
Look at the time of possession. Temple doing exactly what they want, keeping control of the football.
Check that. The deep back was Jackson. And he picks up about 3-4 yards running off his left tackle. Let's go back to our AT&T studio. Mike Gleason's got an update on the West Virginia contest.
Well, Dave, Notre Dame, if they miss out on the BCS, of course, they factor into the Big East Bowl equation, which you know. But the Mountaineers strike first. Antonio Brown sweeps to the left side, 24 yards. Mountaineers go up 7-0. Notre Dame just fumbled on the 4, but they say the ground caused it, so it's still inside the 5 for the Irish. Dave?
All right, Mike, thank you. Interesting development for the Mountaineers. Here's Dorsey under pressure, and down he goes. They get a sack from Russell Newman. He's their sack leader. That gives him 5.5 on the season. Russ is out of Northeast High School here in Philadelphia.
Coaches were raving about him defensively. Raymond Monica, the defensive coordinator, was just saying, you know, we can only imagine if we're able to get Russell Newman and Dan Klecko in there together, the havoc that they can wreak. But I tell you what, number 95, Rob Sack, has done a tremendous job filling in. This is a different Temple defense than we've seen in the last couple of years.
17th sack on the season for Temple. 3rd down long. Dorsey to throw underneath for Williams. Nothing doing. Taylor Suman covering. And a 3 and out for Miami. Homecoming crowd here at the Vet. And a pretty good number. This team traditionally does not draw real well, but they're expecting about close to 25,000 today. Bobby Wallace has energized this program. Legendary coach at Division II North Alabama, where he won 3 straight national titles. First kick by